Welcome. My name is Vicki Schieber, and I am the mother of a murdered daughter. Well, she ended up at the age of 22 to get accepted at the #1 finance school in the country on a full scholarship and a stipend at the University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School of Business. What we didn't know when we packed up Shannon and moved to Philadelphia after selecting this apartment and everywhere she would live is that there had been a pattern of crimes in that same community, like a 3 to 4 block area near the campus at the University of Pennsylvania. And no one had reported any of this. That wasn't sent out through the school's email system. They didn't warn any of the students that lived in the community that they had these pattern of sexual assaults. And they didn't announce it on any evening TV shows. Not that my daughter probably watched much of the TV, but the school didn't know about it. She didn't know about it. So we still thought it was a very safe community, and she was very happy there. And so it ends up close to the end of her first year. It's like in the spring of 1998 that this pattern had been continuing, but no notification. That in the middle of the night, on the night of May 7th, 1998, somebody broke into her apartment. And by the way, he always did his homework on all these previous assaults too. He made sure the person was living alone, that there were no barking dogs, that there was nobody else staying in that apartment that night. And he knew how he was going to get in and get out. That's why he had managed to do these 4 previous crimes that Shannon didn't know about, of course. So he got in that back door. The glass door was slightly ajar. The screen door was there all the way in front of the balcony door. It was locked. He shimmied the lock on that screen door. The door was partially open, the glass door, because it was May and it was warm. So while that bath water or that shower was running, he went into the apartment. And just as she was coming out, there she was, of course, totally naked. She screamed. And there was just total shock that somebody was there in her apartment. How did you get in? How did you get in? And he calls and he says, Mom, I'm very worried. Nobody's seen Shannon. She didn't come to the study group this morning before the exam. She didn't show up at the exam. Everybody was a little worried. A couple people tried to call her apartment and there was no answer. I don't know what to do. This is really strange. And of course, you can imagine every mother's worst nightmare. Oh God, what would happen? That would be the last thing Shannon would have never have been. She'd been there for the exam. Something was wrong. I knew. Well, if you could imagine. I just remember after that going into that restroom outside of the door of our office, and I put my head down on my knees and just prayed, please God, please. I don't understand what happened. Please. Any parent would have done the same thing. They'd been so worried. Why? What's going on? Sean had gone into that apartment and he saw the blood spattered walls and he saw a naked dead body on the bed and he collapsed, fainted. And then there was the longest period of my life I remember. There was no answer, nothing for a long, long time. I kept, of course, praying. Finally, a couple hours later, after I tried to call several people to the university and everything, I never heard back from Sean. Finally, a woman's voice came into my office phone, and she was a friend of Sean's, had come over with her to help move, help things. And she said, Mrs. Schieber, you and your husband have to come up and identify a dead body in Shannon's apartment. We had to plan the funeral, and it was the hardest time of our lives. Anyway, it was a beautiful funeral. The pastor did this wonderful honors of her. This was a beautiful woman. We'll never understand how this could have happened. We prayed that we would. But in that 4-year period, I started learning the death penalty system. I know nothing about it. And I had no idea. And I said, I kept praying, God, what can I do? And then I realized, Shannon would have said, Mom, look at this system. Look what's happening in it. You would want to make something better. Let's see what we can do. There's a lot of people that I learned, are exonerated from death row. I learned that there were so many false accusations and allegations. I learned there were maybe some people even put to death that were not guilty. And I just had followed up. I got very active in victim support groups. Murder victim family members around the country got very, very active in that. And I started to learn. I said, now, I got it, Shannon. I think maybe this is what we're going to do together. We're going to, in your honor, Mom's going to work as hard as she can, as long as she has here with God's wish purposes here, to get rid of this death penalty system. I've gotten to work in 6 of the last 7 states that have repealed the death penalty system. And I'm very, very proud that I got to work with Governor O'Malley, who was a wonderful supporter, who was the state that Shannon was born and raised, and they passed the repeal bill in 2013. I first testified in the Maryland legislature in 2003. A decade later, the repeal was passed. I went to the newspaper and several other sources. I said, would you have a way that I could be in touch with this person's mother or a family member? I would like to go talk to them. I want to know him. I want to understand why he did what he did. I really want, I think this would help healing for my family. And I said, I think learning that would be so, so helpful. And I just would want him to know that we are not angry and vengeful people, that we believe all of us are good human beings and can be saved and turn our lives around. We are not ever going to be angry. We want it to be loving and forgiving. And I called her and I just said, I introduced myself. I said, now, if you don't want to speak to me or if this is difficult or something, I'll be happy to hang up. But I would just like to have a few minutes of your time, if I may. I never mentioned names or give the names of the families or the assailant, but she was very beautiful and kind to me, and she started crying. She sobbed. We probably were on the phone a couple hours just sobbing. And then she told me how she felt. She says, oh, Mrs. Schieber, I was the one who murdered your daughter. I was the one. I just gave this look to her. I said, no, I didn't call. I wasn't here to make any accusations or anything. I just wanted to tell you, I wanted to understand, and how are you doing and everything. And she said, no, I was the one that caused it because I married this man and I thought everything was going so well in the marriage, and then he lost his job. And we had 2 young boys, and he couldn't find another job, and so finally he just tried to sell drugs just to make some money to feed us, support us, and then finally later I learned that he was using drugs. And he came home and he was very violent here at home, and my 2 boys were raised in that environment. There was a lot of domestic violence issues. And she said it really had a hard impact on my youngest son, the one who murdered your daughter. And he had a lot of anger management issues and women issues, and he was angry at me a lot for not taking my brother and I out here. So that's why I blame myself for a lot of this. I am so sorry, Mrs. Schieber, that this happened to you. I am so sorry. And I just said, thank you for sharing all this. I would do so much to help it, but it's the way I could. And I said, just know we are not angry people. Do not feel that you are, being taken advantage of and by my call or anything else. I just want to wish you so much good in your life, and I hope you can heal, because I'm telling you, I really have been able to very much because of the things you said to me and understanding things more. And I went eventually later and just spent a long time on the phone with her brother and learned more about the family. He corroborated all the mom's stories. And, it really makes such a difference when you know and can understand what this person went through. And now he knows, fortunately, because we've pretty much had to work very hard not to have that death penalty given to my daughter. The district attorney was hell-bent on putting people on death row, and she thought this is a heinous crime, and she said if anybody deserves to get the death penalty, it was the woman, the man who murdered this girl, this woman there on campus. And we said, we came out very early after this happened, we said we do not believe in the death penalty. What we've learned about is that it's very biased and assessment, and we believe in the sanctity of life. That was the way we were raised. We were raised to believe that every life is valuable and that God determines these things. We don't. And sometimes, yes, it's been very hard. It was a healing process, but once we got rid of all that anger and that natural feeling of hatred and vengefulness, like every mother and parent has to have when you go through this, but it was so comforting. It was so positive. And then I could take all that negative energy on my body, and my husband was with me 100% of the way, my son. We said we're going to take all this positive energy and do something to honor Shannon. We aren't going to worry about going in and out of the courts for years and years and years trying to settle this case and all the hearings and the things that run murder victims' families through just hell to get to the point where they actually put someone to death, and if they do it all. But we were freed of all that. Our peace has come from knowing that so much good has come out of it. And it continues, and that's what we work for. And I'm very happy to share the story of Shannon Schieber and what she's accomplished. Sometimes good can come from lives we live, and sometimes God plans otherwise. And we're happy. We are God together. And of course, believing in the sanctity of life, we'll see her someday in